do that. Where the heck am I? Okay. So 0 that. 0 that. Okay. So the connector allows you to bind animation to a controller. That's the most simple way I can put it. So if you want to make a nice smooth head rotate, once you have all your head shapes, you can just animate between your head shapes and combine that to the controller. So the only thing is, the more pieces you have doing that, the heavier your rig becomes. So if you're having a bunch of different stuff, so like on the Dorothea rig, I had like the mouth shapes that are super smooth. So the mouths open and close with keyframes. The head moves around with keyframes, and that paired with costumes changing and being able to turn a hat on and off, that made the rig start to feel extremely heavy. But not also just that, all the entire character was shape layers. So I assume, but we'll find out with this character, that if only the facial features and the body pieces are shape layers, or only the few pieces that we're going to morph with keys, I assume it won't be as heavy as that rig was, because the rest are all referencing Illustrator files. So we first do the swaps so that we can have a nice a rig that can work on most people's builds. So, and I only have like 16 gigs RAM, so it works fine for me. The rig with the morphs also works fine, but it does have a bit of a lag, but the lag's not important. What's important is, can your rig go into the poses you need it to go into in a reasonable amount of time. So you don't want to wait like a minute or so for it to, like, for you move an arm and it goes into a pose. You want it at least to be within a few milliseconds to a second. Like if it's a super heavy rig, a second. That's the longest I want to wait for my head or something to snap to a certain position. Okay, onto the connector. So we want to click this cog over here. So it opens all these different options. So we want to pick which part of this is controlling it. So I click on pick control. So we know it's the Y that's driving it. So we're just going to change this axis to Y. We know our minimum amount and we know our maximum amount. And now I can go over to my head where it is. See, without even reading the names, I just saw the green keys, so I know this is the right. And then I want to click on this button that says properties. So this connects the selected properties to the control you've set. So click that and it's done. Just like that. So Duik gives us this little script. So first thing we want to do, we just want to test it out if it's working. It seems to be going in reverse. This is actually good. So I can actually show you this. So even though there's a script now on these keys can still be moved. And depending on where you move these keys, it's gonna either play your animation in reverse with the controller or correctly. So as you could see, I was just doing the reverse. So now I'm just swapping the position of these keys around. So now when I move it, now it's doing it correctly. There we go. So now we know these guys are going to have the same issue. So you actually want your maximum value on the left and your minimum value on the right. But I should have just done that because I have these going down in the positive and these are going up in the negative. So we actually want our negative on the left, positive on the right. So negative on the left, positive on the right. Now you can check. Oh, we can't check because these are on position keys. Okay, so we can either then do the same thing again, find our left controller and then do the connector and do all that like I did pick the control, or so I'll show you this quick way of doing it. Now that you've seen the connector puts a little expression on your layer itself, so you can see there. So in your effects control panels there's a connector position, so if you turn that off it will just shut down the script. It will disable the script that's running that. You turn back on, script is being controlled. So we can basically take this connector position and then we can paste this on our left eyebrow. So now it has the same function. It's also a control recognized by Duik, which would allow me to now copy the script that Duik made, alt click on that and paste it here. And because I named my layers with R and L, just change the R to an L. It's just caps lock was selected, so it's giving me that error. So just change the R to an L and you can see. So let me just copy that now and paste it over here as well. Where the heck did my control go? So you can see the script to code. So without having to run the connector again. So once the connector runs, it gives me all the tools to just do this over and over again. So I don't have to keep applying the connector now. I have this connector position that I can just copy and paste on everything that's gonna run with position. And I have the script now that I can manipulate so that I don't have to keep using the connect function. But if it's easier for you to use the connect function, by all means, you can keep selecting and put a connector position on each controller through Duik like that, and then just parent them up with that properties button. So always do what's easier for you. So we got our eyebrows and we got our shadows linked up. Okay, so let's just zero these guys. Okay, so now let's do our eyelids. So again, because we have this handy script we wrote over here, we can now use that for our eyelids as well. So let's just separate these dimensions as well. So this is our right, just make that green, and this is our left, so red. Okay, just quick save. Okay, actually let's just paste this in first. So I'm just going to disable this. So let's establish what T is before we move on. So we know this is not going to be controlled by the eyebrow layer as it shows here. So again, you can do that method, drag your one comp beneath the other comp, reveal your eyelid layer and the position you want, select this and then pig whip like that. Oh, we're looking at the right thing, it's the eyebrow. So we want right eyelid over here. And then we do that. So to the Y, which is on the right. And now you'll see it changed to eyelid. So that's the easy method to do it. The other way is, let me I just want to show both ways, so let's just undo that. If you don't want to be moving your comps around just like before, find the layer that you wanted to connect to. Okay, that's the layer name. I copy that. So now I go to, I want to change this parent, so I just want to change the layer name to that. It's still 1. Let me just disable. So let me find, let me just see if its highest points are also 50 and 50. It's negative 50 and 0. So now I'm going to change my script. My highest point is 0. And then, so just disable again. Let's find, so I just want to open up a second screen so I can see the full face. Let's find the highest point we want this to go when that is at maximum. So let's do negative 10. Its eyes completely open. I think it has a little bit of a lid sticking out. I think that's fine. Let's negative 11. Well, let's just have it completely out. That's fine. Okay. So now we know it's negative 11 and 0. So let's zero that out. Yeah. So that's going to be negative 11, that's going to be 0. So when that's 0, that's going to be 0. When that's negative 50, that's going to be negative 11. And it's listening to our eyelid top. So now let's test that out. There we go. Seems to be listening. So now we're gonna just copy this layer. Let's first copy our script, and we paste it on eyelid bottoms Y. So now we know eyelid bottom is going to be positive 50, so it's going to go from 0 to positive 50. So we can go and confirm this. Our eyelid bottom, yes, 0 to positive 50. Cool. And then we want this, when eyelid bottom is 0, we want this to be 0. And when it's at 50, we want it to be positive 11. Okay. And I think I just go, so we can just copy the layer name and then change the layer name here. So between the quotation marks, there we go. So now we can see. So we got the one lid controller moving the top lid, and our bottom lid controller moving the bottom lid. There we go. So now we can get him into our reference look like that. So it's nice to have like a character sheet thrown out where you have certain expressions that your character is going to be in, so you know exactly like which expressions to put him in. Because I don't think I'm ever going to use this unless I'm actually going to make him surprised. And the cool thing now, because we have both of these, it's easy to just go to our left now. Let's split these dimensions. Just want to extend the names. So now I can go to the left lid's top. I'll click on Y, paste this, change this to L, and I clicked on the pigwood by mistake. Change this to L. Got that. So now we go to the bottom lid. Go to this bottom lid. Change this to L. And now we have both eyelids rigged up. It's a nice quick workflow. Cool. So now we see what else do we have in the face. We have our pupils. So our pupils are zeroed already. These can remain the same. So what I want to do with the pupils, I actually want to do where it's just a normal parent. So you can also use your linear expression to make sure the pupils only move around within the white. Let me actually do something else with the pupils. Right pupil, so left pupil, let's have the left eye, the eye white. Let's have the eye white be its mask. So now if I move the left pupil, it won't go outside of the white. It will be masked by the white. That's cool. Okay, let's do the same with the right pupil. So every time you turn the layer into a mask, it's going to switch it off, then you just switch it back on. Just bring back the visibility. Okay, let's do red. Let's do green. Remember, use your own colors if you don't like red and green. Whatever helps you identify layers quicker. Okay, so we can lock these. We don't really want to be moving these around. We just want our pupils. So same as before, you can either snap your comp to the bottom and big whoop this composition, that position to your pupil controller. It's over there, see pupils. Or you can just click on the position, go to edit, copy with property links, go to face, and then paste, Control V. So it's over there. So let's just see, because remember, this space is a lot bigger than this space. So now we know when I move here, it's gonna go way too far. So let's just move it as far as we can. Let's go back here and let's see. So we see where it's sitting. So now we're gonna divide this. Let's divide this by 10. I think 10 is too much. Let's divide it by 8. Let's do 6. I think 8. I think let's keep it within the white, just slightly cut off there. I think that's fine. So now we can copy that and we can paste that on our right pupil as well. There we go. And now we got both pupils rigged up. Cool. So let's just zero this back out. Let's quick save. Now what else do we have in the face? I think that brings us to the mouth. Okay, let's do the mouth. So we got all our different pieces. So this is going to be, I'm going to use a different script for the mouths. So I'll show you that one. Yeah. So let's just turn on all the mouths, and we want to work with opacity for this one. So I'm going to use something called an if statement. So also with if statements, I use it over and over again. So I just have it somewhere on a document that I just copy and paste all the time. So I'll just put it over here. So that way I don't have to keep typing it up. So I even labeled like, because when I send this out to other people learning scripting or not knowing how to use this, I just label the stuff so that it's easier to change. So I'll put this in the description as well. So let's do our first one. Paste that there. Just disable. So first we want to say we want this layer to listen to our lip sync controller. So let's get our lip sync controller, which is, it's not that one, it's this one, C lip sync. Cool. So we want, basically what we want to say in layman's terms, if this controller is within this space, then you are visible. If it's outside of that space, then you are not visible. So the way we represent this is either true or false. True being 1, false being 0. But here we're not doing 1 and 0, we're doing 100 and 0 because opacity is 100 for it to be full, 0 for it to be invisible. So if the layer is outside of that space, it's going to be 0. So let's just get the layer's name. So again, to easily do this, let me just close this. You can bring it in like that. Just select this this line and then pick up to the X position like that. Cool. So let's just disable that and let's find out how big this space is. So this space, let's just check over here, is, let's say, more or less negative 29, looks like. Let's just go 2000. Yeah, negative 29. It's probably going to be positive 29 on this side. Just type that in. Not. So this is correct, these numbers are just wrong. So I'm just going to disable this. So this starts at 0. I didn't even notice I was looking at the wrong controller. So I think the highest is going to be 38. So we're going to say if it's greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 38. It's 38.8 there. But as soon as it's on 38, the mouth appears. If I go higher than 38, the mouth disappears. So there we go for that one. And when did I move the eyelid? Looking a bit crazy. Probably how I'm feeling right now on this. Just take a sip of coffee. Okay. So now we want to find the other positions. So that mouth has the script on. Okay, so we're gonna go from 38 and now we want to find this mouth's highest point. Let's make it 125. So I can copy the script now. And paste this here. So now we're going from, so I'm going to remove the equal sign here and I'm going to put 38 over here and I'm going to put 125 over there. So let's just make this 125 on the dot so this mouth can appear. So the reason why I removed the equal sign over here is because I don't want this to be on at the same time as the other mouth. So the other mouth, as long as it's equal to those values or lower than those values, greater than or lower than those values, it will be on. But this one, I want it as soon as it passes this mouth. As soon as it passes 38, so as soon as it's greater than 38, then it's on. So as soon as that one switches on, this one switches off. This one again, I want it to at least still be on 125, because we're going to repeat the same thing with the next mouse, where as soon as it passes 125, it will be on, and this one will be off. So we can just continue doing that. So let's just find all the values. Just rinse and repeat. I will probably just do a time lapse for this part, because just don't have to sit and watch me find values the whole time. This over here, I see I messed up a bit in my stacking order. So I have it over here, E, A, then L. After S comes E, but now L is over here, so I can just move this one down, just so it can still follow along that path. Okay, so I still have this over E, yes. I left the O and U is going to be separate from the happy and sad mounts, just because those you're not going to get a sad O and a sad U. Those are just, O and U is going to look the same no matter what emotion you're feeling. I think when you're saying O and U, the emotion will come more from the eyes if it's like a sad or happy U. With this last position, we're just going to look at how far the controller can go, 680. So for the U, and there we have it. So the way we're going to get this to swap to the sad mouse, so the sad mouse are going to have the exact same expression as these mouse. So I'm just going to go edit, copy expression only, go to where the sad mouse starts. So I think the normal mouse, let me just duplicate that. I have a normal mouse, an M mouse, and a frown, so that's okay for that. So let's get M. Let's do this. So now we go to this M, paste. And we go to the smile, and this one we got a frown. You can look for S and S. Oh, so here again, I don't know why I put the L above those. Okay. So they are all rigged up now. The only issue is, I'll show you now. Oh, something is still soloed. Mouth. So the only issue is if I go to the mouths, it will show two mouths on at the same time because of the sad mouth and the happy mouth have the same. So the way we're going to correct that is we're going to group all the happy mouths together. So recompose, and let's just call these happy mouths. And then we group all the sad mouths. Okay, so now we're going to do another if statement. So I just want to grab one of these because it's using the same controller. So I'm not going to put an and, so we can remove the and section until that parenthesis over there. So it's still lip sync, but then this one is going to be controlled by the Y. So to get the Y, we're just going to turn the 0 into a 1. So that tells it that we're listening to the Y of the position. So we want to tell this controller if it's going from 0 on the Y, if it's between 0 on the Y, sorry, and 34. So I think as long as it's less than or equal to 34, it will be 100, else 0. So it's greater than 34, the happy mouths are off. So if I put the Y on 34, let's just zero this out, you can see it comes back on. So I can copy this script, this expression, and paste it over here, and then I can just do the opposite. So 0 and 100, meaning if it's less than or equal than 34, it will be 0, which means it has to be greater than 34 for it to be 100. So now it only shows the happy mouth at the top, and as soon as I go to the bottom, it's the sad version. So it swaps with ease now. Cool. Did I not constrain this? I think I removed the constraint somehow. So let's just do that quickly again with our clamp. So we got 0. Now how I remove this constraint? 680. And 74. So 680 on the X, 74 on the Y. Take 1 0 out. There we go. Properly constrained. Awesome. And then we have, I think it's just the F mouths and P mouths. We can set this up before we even have the head set up. Basically, the F mouths are only going to be visible from, so this is where we actually need the body orientation. So I put the swap's going to be on this. So negative 133, let's go negative 134. Wait. It's actually 81. And 83. Okay. So I can just copy that and I can go to F mouse. We want this to listen to the body orientation. So over here we can do a nice quick big whoop. And then go to body orientations X. Did I copy the wrong script? Where's my mouse? I want the statement with the ands in. There we go. So let's just do this again. So I'm using the tilde key to expand my screen to full. Okay. Man, I forgot these values. 81. I'm just gonna make 81, 81. I think that's fine. So let's find F mouths. There we go. So as long as it's within between those parameters, we will have our front facing mouths on. Well, at least in our UI. So this actually needs to be 2 because there's a profile in both directions. So let's find the first direction. Okay, so we have the first direction, which it starts at 81 and it ends here. I guess it doesn't have to end, it can just go from 81 until the end of this. 208. Yeah. So these mouths can start there and end here. And let me just see the minimum in the other direction, 218. Okay. Well, let's do, I actually want that one to be there. And this one's gonna be here we go. So you see, so as soon as we on this section, the UI will show the profile mouths, and if we go back to the other section, the same. And only when we within this front section will it show the front mouths. Okay, and then we can move on to the head swaps and the body swaps. So getting us to the full rotation.